Well, Ahmet Berat ÇONKAR has the government's reaction now from Ankara. He's a member of parliament with the ruling AK party. Mr. ÇONKAR, thank you so much for joining us. The report highlights some very serious obstacles in terms of press freedom. Do you think the EU has provided a fair critique here?
Thank you. I don't think that the European Union is providing a fair critique here. If you look at the press freedoms in Turkey, you can see that there is press freedom as far as the diversity of the press is concerned. There is immense number of media outlets broadcasting freely on their agenda, and they can do all kinds of criticism either in broadcasting media or news media in any way. So I don't see any kind of limitations as far as press freedoms in Turkey. If we come to the criticism of the government or the president or the AK Party government, the problem is here with the use of language and the attitude about criticisms. Sometimes we see language which is insulting and which is basically discriminatory and which is not acceptable under European Union standards as well. So when we look at the freedom of media, I can say that the media in Turkey is as free as any Western country, and as far as the diversity is concerned, I can say that the diversity of the media outlets is much more than many European countries. Thank you.
Then how do you think this report might affect Turkey-EU relations, especially when both sides have so much vested interest in terms of managing the refugee crisis right now?
As you know, European Union is going through quite difficult issues right now. We have seen that European Union had to deal with the Eurozone crisis and the Greek crisis, financial crisis. Later on, they are having this refugee crisis. So many issues are in the borders of Europe right now, including the crisis in Ukraine and the crisis in Syria. So the relationship between European Union and Turkey is much more important when we look at all these circumstances. And the latest dialogue, high-level dialogue between our leaders, Turkey's leaders and European Union leaders have been quite fruitful. We have put together a framework so that we can accelerate the relationship and improve the negotiation process. But this kind of reports especially should be objective and fair. If it goes over criticism, then it loses credibility as well. So the most important thing is that fairness. If there is fair criticism, we take it, we note it, and we basically get use of those recommendations. However, there are in this report some criticisms which do not have any base or foundation, and we and our government is going to bring this in front of the committee, European Commission, because some criticisms are groundless and not acceptable in any way, because it doesn't have any real background.
Okay, Ahmet Berat ÇONKAR, thank you so much for joining us from Ankara.